Hi, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to day number 2 of the Unmute Yourself Challenge. Now, today is all about values, and it is such an important conversation because as business owners, as brands, especially in the past 12 months, it has been a key point of our business growth to speak about what we believe in, to speak about our values. Now, for those of you who are joining in, watching the replay, go ahead and type the word replay in the chat just so I can see who's hanging out here with me today. For those of you who are new to me, hello. My name is Andrea Jones. I am a social media strategist. I love working with brands, businesses who are passion led, who want to use social media as a tool to grow their business. And that's why today's conversation is so important. Now, this is part 2 in a 3-part series all about unmuting yourself on social media. This is a series that a challenge that we're hosting in the Savvy Social School. And it's really to encourage those of us who may have been shying away from talking about our brands, what we believe in, our whys, our values. And it's really designed to encourage you to speak up about what you believe in. And this really helps attract and draw in the right people and repel the wrong people, the people who would never buy from you, never listen to your podcast, never sign up for your newsletter. You want to have those people go ahead and opt on out before they get into your world. So this is a 3-part series. For those of you who are in the school, I've got a workbook for you. We have meditations, we have guidance every single day of the series. So definitely check that out. And as I am showing up for this series, I'm doing this live session. So I am live streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, and in LinkedIn. And if you're curious about the tool that I'm using, it's called Restream. It allows you to stream live to up to 30 different destinations. And so this is how I'm able to multi-stream to multiple places, be in multiple places all at the same time, which is a lot of fun. So if you're interested in trying it, I do have my link up on the screen for those of you who want to dip your toe into the live stream world. But let's talk about this concept of value setting and unmuting yourself. And I think a lot of businesses actually really struggle with this because they haven't identified their values. And I'm not going to lie, this is hard. This is very challenging to identify your value system as a business. So examples of things this year that have really put businesses to the test. We had a global pandemic where there are apparently 2 sides, people who believe the pandemic is a real and dangerous thing, people who don't. We have had Black Lives Matter movement where there is apparently 2 sides, people who are anti-racist and people who are racist. And as business owners and entrepreneurs, especially in the online space, it's very important that as a company, internally first, you identify what your values are. Okay? Social media should just be a reflection of your internal values. I'm going to say that again. Social media should be a reflection of what your company believes internally already. And I think that's where a lot of business owners get stuck. I think that's where a lot of business owners find it challenging to speak up about something like Black Lives Matter because they haven't decided their company's stance on these issues yet. And so the first thing you want to do as a business owner when you're thinking about sharing your values online is identify what they are, and they should be crystal clear inside your company first. So in an ideal world, you should be able to go up to any one of your team members and go, hey, what do we believe about this thing? How do we present ourselves to the world? If your team members can't speak to that, then you may have some work to do internally first. Once that internal work is done, then it is a whole lot easier to then magnify that on social media. So if something happens like people attack the US Capitol, you don't have to scramble to come up with a statement to post on social media because you've already got internal processes, internal values established. And it makes it a whole lot easier to then say something about current events. You're not scrambling to go, oh, what do we say? Because you've already established your own values. So a few things to think about as you're thinking about your creating your values. And I'll emphasize again, this is hard. Y'all, this is hard work. This is why we don't want to do it, because we're human beings and we like shy away from doing hard work. So you want to establish your values. I do see a question in the chat about Restream. I will answer that at the end. Good question. When you're establishing your values, ask yourself a few things. What do you believe about the people that you work with? What do you believe about your clients? What do you believe about the service or products that you deliver? How are your values embedded into what you do? So I'll give you an example of one of mine that I actually discovered last year. So last year, I took Strengths Finder, which is Gallup's personality style test. My top 2 strengths are strategic and positivity. Who knew positivity could be a strength? Has anyone ever heard of this? A Gallup Strengths Finder tests. I find them fascinating and have actually incorporated them into one of my programs, and I'm planning to do more with my team on this later in the year. These strengths tests are so great at identifying your personal both strengths and weaknesses, so to speak. But positivity is my number 2 strength. And so I already have that embedded and woven into my business. I was just putting a label on it at that point. We approach our clients with positivity. We facilitate our social media actions in positivity. A lot of my team members have that built into their own personalities, is the positivity piece. So when you're thinking about your value system, start with the things that you already do in your business well and try putting a name on it. All right, a few other things to think about as you're putting yourself out there, as you're developing your value system, is that as business owners, you are leaders. So as business owners, you are a leader. You are leading people. You have a position of authority in the way this culture works, our North American culture. And so people look to you for that leadership. And I find that empowering. I hope a lot of you find that empowering as well. People look to you for your leadership. So as a leader, as a business owner, you want to make sure you work on your own mindset and strengthen your own brain so that when things happen in the world and your values are put to the test, you are able to make a decision quickly and effectively, and you're able to sit with being uncomfortable. And I think that's where a lot of us shy away from that discomfort of having our values pushed. I'll give an example. I was listening in on a call recently, and one of the people on the call was asking about race. And they said, do you prefer Black or do you prefer African American? That question in and of itself, probably very uncomfortable. But I know I felt uncomfortable just by hearing it. Secondhand discomfort, if you will. But by that person putting themselves in that space of discomfort, they are actually able to lead from a place of empowerment. They're actually to lead themselves and their team by that momentary discomfort, by figuring out, hey, this is a, elephant in the room. I've got to ask this question. I'm going to go for it. And that is what leadership is. It's being slightly uncomfortable. And I'll tell you, I don't think this feeling ever goes away. So as we're deciding our value system for our business, know that it's going to feel uncomfortable sometimes. The last thing I want to talk about as well is there's this conversation that's happening on social media right now where certain people are saying that why do these things have to be political? Hey, Alex, welcome. Thanks for joining us live. And yes, love Strengths Finder too. Awesome. There's a conversation happening on social media right now where people go, why does it have to be political, right? Why does Nike have to talk about Black Lives Matter? Why do all of these online businesses start talking about, trans rights? Why are people talking about, right now, there's a lot of conversation about the Asian American community and some of the disparities that they're facing, right? Why are people talking about these topics? And I want to say that this has been a historical thing in our society for centuries, and it's not new. And also, we are humans having human conversations. And I think sometimes we forget about that. We have this idea of a brand in our head in our business, a brand or a business. We have that idea in our head. And so when we go to Nike's page, we just want to look at shoes. But Nike is so much more than just a shoe company, right? They almost have a movement behind them. And so when we think about how we're showing up as businesses and taking stances for things that are valuable to not only us, but to the people, the very people that we serve, that can really call in more people. Now, I will say this, I have also seen people kind of doing this in a way that feels a little authentic. I don't know if anyone else has felt this. Definitely put this in the chat if you have. But some brands are kind of like slapping a rainbow flag on something and going, look, we're inclusive. And it's like, I don't feel like that's quite right. And I think that is a situation where the internal values aren't matching what they're reflecting on social media. So again, anything that you post on social media should be a reflection of what your brand is currently doing on the inside. Okay. Your business, your brand, conversations with your team, even if you are the only person in your business, your own personal value system, all of those things are so important to understanding your own value system. Okay. So if you found this conversation helpful, interesting, I am going on Clubhouse this afternoon at 3:00 to talk more about values. I have some amazing panelists who are wicked smart, who are going to be contributing to this conversation, both as personal brands and as businesses. And if you want to contribute to the conversation, the great thing about Clubhouse is we can all contribute. Now, I will say it's iOS only, so iPhone, iPad, and you have to have an invite. I do have 5 invites, so send me a direct message if you want one. So that's the 2 caveats for that app. But I would love for you to join me in this conversation if you're able, because it's such a dynamic way to have a two-way conversation instead of me on live kind of talking at you. So join me on a Clubhouse tonight. If you sign up via the link on the screen, you'll get a notification with the direct link to join in. You'll also get any notes from the session. So even if you don't join in, about 48 hours after the session, we're going to add in all of our notes. So the questions that were asked, the links that were mentioned, all of those things will be available to you as well. So definitely join in. This is the second piece of our 3-part Unmute Yourself series. So there will be another session tomorrow at 3:00 as well. Before I let you go, we did have a question here from Codret. How does Restream help? I did want to answer this briefly before we go, because Restream helps me stream live in multiple places. So this question came in from LinkedIn. I'm also streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you're interested in that, definitely check out Restream. And if you're interested just in live streaming in general, I actually have a guide for you that walks you through how I do live streams. How do I present a call to action? How do I frame my topic and my talking points? How do I promote these live events? What do I do after a live event? And so if you're interested in learning more about live streaming, check out the live stream guide. There's a link to Restream in this guide as well, onlinedrea.com/live stream. I love it. I love conversation and dialogue. So I appreciate everyone joining me today, and I will see you tomorrow, same place, same time. And tomorrow, let me look at my topic, because listen, this whole series is all about speaking up. And tomorrow, I'm going to stand on my soapbox and talk about content, because you don't need no content. You don't need new content. None. You need discipline. And I'm going to talk about why tomorrow. So I'll see you then. Bye for now.